Hi everybody, this is Agnes from Sediment, and today I want to ask you a question. Is wine industry stuck in the past? This video was inspired by my morning routine. I make my coffee and try to catch up on all the wine news I am subscribed to. And almost every time there is at least one, but most likely even more articles about how the wine industry is not adapting, about how it is not responding to modernization or the needs of younger generation. At least not as well as the spirits and beer industries, which are constantly innovating with the final consumer in mind. I too have been criticizing wine industry for being old school, but have I really believed that, or has that idea been fed to me? You will hear different arguments that the wine industry does not adapt well to the new technologies, that it is not putting enough TikTok videos, and that wine has to be aged to get better, so the younger generation sees it as old or irrelevant? Question mark? But is that really true? So one article was focusing on beer and spirits industries, on how quickly they react to what consumers are asking for. You get different flavor beers and different flavored spirits responding to the latest trends on social media, I guess. Why doesn't wine do that, was the question. And that really frustrated me. If anything, I would argue that constantly adjusting style to whatever the final consumer wants is not the best idea. I am happy that wine industry is diverse. Even within a single grape variety or a single appellation, you can find a vast variety of styles. And let's not forget, wine industry has responded to consumer requests before. That is how we ended up with anything but the Chardonnay movement. That is how we ended up with extracted, overpumped, rich and opulent red fruit bombs in every wine region. And that is how we ended up with super oaky, creamy and toasty Chardonnays from wherever. Just look, the wine industry is being criticized for not responding to consumer tastes, and then just turn the page and see those same critics bashing the wine industry for producing those rich and opulent wines, oaky wines and creamy mellow wines that regular customers loved so much. So no, I absolutely do not think we should be making matcha or sakura cherry infused wines. And I do not think there should be pumpkin flavored wine every year around Halloween. Trends come and go. Classics, on the other hand, may respond to some fluctuations, but they remain classics. If we come back to the argument that wine industry is slow to respond and look at it in a more serious way, the beer and spirits industries can make their beverages throughout the year, experiment with flavors, discard the unsuccessful ones and try again. Many times during the year, it is simply a question of budget. How much can you experiment and how much you can afford to throw away? It is not the same in the wine industry. They are not built the same. A winemaker has only one opportunity per year to make the best wine they possibly can. And yes, I am aware that as a consultant winemaker, you can fly to the Southern Hemisphere or vice versa to do another harvest. But ultimately, if you work your own vines and make your wine, you have just one chance each year. If you are incredibly lucky, that means around 50 vintages of your lifetime, and most of the winemakers might not even get as much. If they experiment this year and they fail, they have to wait a whole year to try again. That seems downright silly. For me, it makes absolute sense to work your land and make the best wine you can every year, in harmony with what nature has given you and in harmony with your own standards. Winemaking can be industrialized, of course, but I am a firm believer that all of those who criticize the wine industry for being antique are not the same people who would write a positive review about flavored wines. And more importantly, when it comes to choosing wines for their own enjoyment, most likely they will go and look for classic labels. I have seen it over and over again. You tell me how great that pink wine cocktail in a can is, and then later at dinner you order a Grand Cru Burgundy for the table. I am actually much more optimistic about the wine industry. I am happy to acknowledge that it has changed and has adapted where it really matters. Just in my recent interview with Roman Horvat, Master of Wine, the managing director of Domaine Wachau, we discussed how Wachau vineyards have changed over the last years. These days, it is fine to hard a bare ground or dead grass from Roundup, which is a widely used contact herbicide. Instead, everything is green with cover crops. Whether it sounds posh or not, the wine industry has always emphasized terroir, the importance of the land, the weather, the people, and tradition. Our livelihood depends on that, so preserving the land is vital. Doing so is the only way to continue producing top-quality fruit year after year without depleting the soil of its nutrients and the land of its life. When comparing the beer industry to wine, with barley, wheat, and hops as the main ingredients, we rarely talk about the sustainability of the land, and the concept of terroir is still in its infancy. The spirits industry, meanwhile, is very strong in social media and spends heavily on trips, events, and bartender marketing. But raw materials for spirits are usually grown industrially on a massive scale with large water, land, and chemical inputs. To me, wine seems to be the fastest adapting category in the alcohol industry when it comes to caring of our land. The beer industry is improving in that area, but it is still more of a niche and usually linked to small craft breweries. And it is the spirits industry that lags behind the most in overall numbers. Another modern aspect in the wine industry is the rise of individuality and diversity. Regions that once sold their wines only locally are now celebrated around the world. I always remember one master of wine who passed their exam decades ago, saying that then it was all about Burgundy, Bordeaux, Champagne, and port in the exam. And now we have to know the wines from all around the globe, including rare and indigenous grape varieties. We drink País from Chile, we celebrate Alvarinho from Brazil, we explore Maturana Blanca from Rioja. The world is your oyster. Alongside globalization and standardization, there is now a strong presence of individuality, authenticity, and real, true stories told in the wine industry. I invite you to check out some of my podcasts with Alexander Charton, Aldo Vaca, Daniel Niepert. They are so honest, and that is what matters. Not legends created by marketing teams that follow the same formula you see on every Netflix show.
Yummy.
There is still honesty in the wine world. And not only because of the people and terroir, but also simply because vintage shapes it. No matter how much we try to hide behind technology, 2021 vintage in Bordeaux, for example, was a very difficult year. And even with all the density baths and optical sorters, which some critics attacked because apparently using them reduces the diversity of vintages, you can still taste the struggle of that vintage in the glass. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I am over the narrative that wine is not modern. Yes, there are areas where I wish the wine industry would respond faster, heavy glass bottles being one of them. But even there, it is also our responsibility as a final consumer. Wine is ever modern because it ultimately tells the history of the land it is grown and the story of the people who make it. I even know the names of some winemakers' dogs and donkeys. Do you realize how precious that is in a 21st century? If this isn't nice, I don't know what is. If this isn't timeless, I don't know what is. Let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts on this very topic. Do you think wine industry is being modern? Is it classic? Is it lagging behind? Thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, make sure to click on this video next.